I'm Andrew.
I'm Dennis.
We're the Crafty Lumberjacks. Welcome back to Handmade.
In today's video, we're going to show you how easy it is to elevate any piece of artwork in your home and create a DIY custom floating frame using some scrap wood.
Let's get started. What you need to get started is a canvas. You can find one at your craft store, or we upcycled one with that spackle art that we already had. But what you're looking for is like a nice thick canvas.
Yes, and then to create our frame, we're actually going to be using wood that we found at the big box hardware store that's actually typically used for molding. Now what you want is 4 pieces of wood that is half the width of your canvas frame.
Yep, so we're looking for like the thickness of it. So this one is
about 1.5 inches. And then you want 4 pieces of wood that are the same size of the width of the thickness outside piece of the frame. You get it?
I got it.
And start constructing it.
So we're taking our thinner pieces and we're gonna line it up to the back edge. And then we're using small nails and we're just gonna hammer them in. You're not gonna see this, so you really don't have to worry about how it looks. You just wanna make sure that it's nice and flush.
This is actually the magic that's going to be holding our frame together. It's looking pretty good.
It really is. We have our 3 sides, we just need 1 more. And again, we're taking the thinner pieces of wood, lining them up to the back and hammering it in with the teeny tiny nails. That's what I like to call them, teeny tiny nails.
Teeny tiny nails, that's the official term.
Yeah, so when you go to the hardware store, say I need some teeny tiny nails.
Yes. The Crafty Lumberjacks told me.
I need some teeny tiny nails.
Now we're using the natural wood. We really like the way it looked against the white here. But of course you can paint this, use some acrylic paint, or you can even sand it. I just think it looks really good all natural.
I think if you're going to paint it, it's a good idea to paint it before you hammer it in.
Yes, and then do touch-ups.
Yes.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. I used to be able to play that on, we had an organ in my home growing up in the basement. Real creepy, right?
Yeah.
But it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. It was all like numbers, like little children's like piano lesson books, you know.
Mine was always like hot cross buns.
Yes. All right, our inside framing is complete. We're actually gonna take our handheld sander and just take it right to the edge here and smooth out the corners. Beautiful, less is more, less is more.
All right.
Yes, that's great, because you don't wanna kind of change the shape or over, and then you're gonna end up with like a saggy frame.
No one wants a saggy frame.
No, I mean, some might. And I don't want to judge them for that, but I don't. It's looking really good. Now we're going to do the same thing to the outside with our larger pieces, but rather than nailing it, we're actually going to use some wood glue and some clamps to hold it in place, just because we don't want to see any nails showing through the outside of the frame.
Yeah, this will give us a nice clean look.
And we're just going to use some wood glue here along the edge. And I'm actually starting with the top edge and the bottom edge. We're gonna line up our piece of wood, and I want it flush to at least one side of the frame. And then we're gonna use a clamp to clamp that down into place. And then clamp it in. It's looking really good. Now that we have our top and bottom clamped and glued and drying, we're actually going to continue along with our frame here on one side, and we're actually going to glue on the side where we lined up the edges so that it's nice and flush, so that we won't have to worry about sanding anything down there. Same deal, just using a bit of wood glue. You know, you see these in a retail store, they run for about
$50.
Oh gosh, I was gonna say more, especially if you get an art piece with it. And it's kind of trash. So you might as well make your own for literally like peanuts compared to the price that they'll charge.
All right, so it's been a little bit over an hour and the glue feels pretty good. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna sand down these edges right here just so we get this last piece fitting perfectly. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna sand any other areas that just need to be flushed, just so we get the cleanest look.
What he said.
Thank you.
It is looking so good. I can't believe we made this from basically nothing, but we're not super happy with how the edges look. So actually, we're gonna be using some wood putty to fill in the cracks here. It's typically not used for projects like this, but it's fairly inexpensive, and I think it will kind of help those problem areas that we see because we're a little particular about things.
Yeah, totally. And it's just gonna fill in some of these little cracks. And the great thing about wood filler, it is going to be the same color, this natural color, but if you wanna paint on top of it, that's okay too. When adding it, this is not the typical way you do it. You do wanna use a glove, and we're just gonna put, since it's just so little, we're just gonna put a little bit on our finger and then just smooth it right in. Now that the wood filler is dry, I'm just taking some 220 grit sandpaper and lightly going over it just to get rid of any extra stuff. We just want those holes filled up.
Here it is, it looks so good.
I'm pretty surprised how quickly this came together and only using a few materials. Let us know, would you keep this all natural or would you give it a more pop of color?
Yes, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.